The goal of this time of year is to get just enough rest that you're recharged to prep yourself for 2026, but also to use this time wisely to work on all the things you haven't had time to do the last 7 months and hope that you find a good enough balance between these two things. Welcome back to another episode of the Elite Business Advice podcast. My name is Chris Moore, the founder of Elite Business Advisors, your host of the podcast here. So wintertime is officially upon us. We just wrapped up Thanksgiving. Our clothes are already fitting tighter than ever. But most importantly, we're settling in for that season of how do I make the most of this time? This is the historically slower part of the season. Some of you guys were burning out pretty hard October, November, sliding into December here, which is crazy to say it's already December. But this is a question that I used to ask myself a lot when I had my painting company. Unfortunately, this is kind of our busy year here at EBA now. Talking tax strategy, end of year stuff, planning for 2026, preparation of our new launch pads for next year, like everything that's like the opposite of what a lot of you guys are heading into. I kind of miss it in a little bit of a way. But so today I want to share how to make the most of this time that you have. How do we use this productively? And how do we work on the systems and processes that you're going to be glad you did next springtime when things get crazy? And you can look back on this winter season and say, I made the most of it. I'm glad I spent the time. Glad I took the initiative. And so I'm going to walk through some ideas to kind of spark what should we be working on? What are the things we should be thinking through that we don't have time to do the last 7 to 9 months here. So I hope it helps. Thanks for plugging in. This is the Elite Business Advice podcast. So I want to start out and I want to make a master list of everything that you need and want to work through here. And I'm going to say the next 3 months. Typically from now until the end of February is like the slower season that is usually the perfect time to work on your business and work on the things you need to, because by March, we're hiring, we're training, we're ramping up for busyness, all the good things that come of it. So how do we use these next 3 months of kind of hibernation to work on the things you need to work on? And so we're just going to make a big list here. So feel free, walk through this with me. If you're listening to this while you're driving, make some mental notes, pause it, voice memos, come back and listen to this later, whatever you want to do. But I want to throw some ideas out there, some things that we should be working on here from the 5 pillars of business. And we're just going to make a master kind of brain dump list as we walk through this. And so number 1, what are the financial things that we should be thinking through for your business? And I look at this from the point of view of what are the bottlenecks in kind of the efficiencies of knowing your numbers, of analyzing your numbers, of looking at your numbers. And so a couple things that come to mind on this, maybe it's better time tracking. This is a great time of year to implement a software like Busy. We had Bracken on the podcast last week that we did together in San Diego. This is a great time to implement something like Busy. While it's slower, it's a little bit easier. You've got time to devote to change and implementing change in your business. Maybe it's tracking your materials better, more efficiently, more proactively. This is a great time to work on that while things aren't crazy across the board. If you need better material tracking for your job costing, maybe it's job costing. Maybe it's something we need to get better at. Maybe it's something we need to be more diligent at. Maybe we just need to create a better habit of doing it every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, pick a day of the week and do it that day every single week for any projects that are done. Maybe we need to get better with our expense reporting, how we're tracking receipts, as well as looking at our end of the month numbers, right? Maybe this is a good time to build some new habits into your schedule and your routine and your weekly rhythm. And it ties into the biggest one, which is making time for it. This is a great time of year, again, to build habits and to build rhythms. If you're not used to analyzing your numbers, you're not used to sitting down and looking at things, taking time to look through stuff, this is a great time to start time blocking that out, because you can probably stick to it a little bit better now than you can in May. But hopefully after a couple of months, it becomes a habit to where you're still doing it next May. All right. Second pillar of business, marketing, lead generation. What I would ask you on this is, do you have a detailed marketing plan for next year that kind of lays out how all of the different marketing channels you are going to utilize work together, budgets behind the ones that involve money, and is there like a proactive plan put together, right? I find that a lot of times marketing is a reactive, throw mud at the wall, see what sticks, and just continuously try this with no real aim in mind. This is how you end up spending money across a bunch of different channels, and when we could really kind of probably concentrate those efforts, and to target some pretty specific neighborhoods, but there's no intentionality behind it. So the first couple of things to think of with marketing: one, do you have that kind of detailed out marketing plan? Hey, this is what we're going to do, right? Every month we're going to do this. It's in somebody's calendar. It's on their accountability chart. Okay, great. Hey, every week we're going to do this. Who's responsible? What days is it happening? What needs done ahead of time to execute that? What are the paid channels that we're going to utilize, right? So have a marketing plan put together. But then also think about the things that what are the things you've been meaning to do? Here's some easy ones. Setting up local service ads. It's not hard to do. It's also, it's easy to do. It's also easy not to do. That's where I was going with that. Setting up local service ads. And some people are like, oh man, I've been meaning to do that. I've been meaning to do that. Well, then just do it. Now's the time. You have no excuse anymore. Your excuses were checked at the door on December 1st, at least for the next 90 days. I think excuses are dumb anyways, but that's the whole side conversation. So maybe it's doing organic social media. Maybe it is sending out that monthly value add newsletter, email blast to your previous customers. What are the things you've been meaning to do that you just haven't been doing? Now is a great time to start doing them and make sure it's part of your marketing plan that just is going to get systematically executed next year. All right, third pillar of business: estimating and sales. When's the last time you sat down and evaluated your customer journey from lead intake through the follow-up after you make the sale? I'm going to guess maybe never. For some of you guys, it's been a long time because, again, this is one of those things we don't stop and sit down and evaluate because you're too busy running to your job sites every day. So take this time, walk through that customer journey. What can you implement into this process to be more effective with sales to close more jobs, right? What are the sales aids? What are the tools? What are the processes? What are the things we can do differently to make this better? Maybe it's revisiting your estimate call scheduling SOP that you or your office admin or your answering service goes through. Maybe it is creating a touch point sometime between when the estimate gets booked and when you or your estimator shows up. Maybe it is something the estimator takes to give to the homeowner while they are there, right? This is a great time to work on these little things. Another thought on this, less sales, more on the estimating side. How can you streamline your bids? Maybe do we need to revisit our production rates? Do we need to create production rates? Do we need to figure out how to do on-the-spot estimating? Again, now is a great time to implement a software like Paint Scout. I have a lot of people right now that are making a switch to Paint Scout. Now is a great time to work on getting these things up and going to where by the time March hits, it's part of the system. You're utilizing it. It's just repeatable, and everybody knows how to do it. Okay, so now is a great time to work on those things. Fourth pillar of business, recruiting. I would say recruiting, HR, it's all one and the same. Do you have everything in place you want to for recruiting and onboarding new employees? Simple question. Do you? I guess your answer is probably no. Here's a few common things that I find myself talking to clients about. That this is, again, a great time of year to work on this because some of this might take a little bit of time to sit down and hammer out. One thing being an apprenticeship pathway. What are the competencies and metrics and how painters grow with inside your company, and what are the pay scales at each of those different levels? Do you have a 4-step interview process with all the questions on the phone screen, the in-person interview? What does that process look like written out? Right, from application to a hurdle they have to overcome to a pre-interview phone call to set it up to the in-person interview. Was that laid out? Do you have all the questions? Do you have everything you go through and cover in each of those 4 steps? I've done a previous podcast episode on that, some other stuff. Go back, check it out. Do you have on that same note, I'll say if you use subcontractors, do you have a vetting process? What is the interview and vetting process for your subs? What does that onboarding plan look like? What does that training process look like within your company? When I say training, I don't mean on the job, hands-on training, but more of like, hey, we check in morning, at lunch, and end of day for the first week they're with us. Like, what does that, initial first couple weeks look like? who's checking in, how often, etc. If you have employees, what is that same token here? First week onboarding and training plan. Right, what does the first week of a new hire look like in your company? Do you have that written down, laid out? I always recommend laying it out as if somebody has no experience, because then you can kind of shrink it and speed it up a little bit for people that come in with experience, but never make assumptions, by the way. Just because they have experience doesn't mean they have experience your way with your products and your methods, right? So yes, it might streamline to say, what is caulk? What is primer? Maybe it's a quick double check. Hey, what primer would you use in this situation? Okay, cool. You understand this. It's less training on some of those things, but so again, build it for somebody with no experience, shrink it down for somebody that actually has experience. Once you kind of see how much experience they actually have. So, last pillar of business, operations. What systems are you missing from your day-to-day operations that are going to help your team and your business? This could be something like SOPs. I mentioned earlier the phone call scheduling SOP. Do you have SOPs for your production team? You should have an SOP for starting a job, for closing out a job, for your crew leader, your project manager. You should have crew lead SOPs, right? For what they're responsible for every single day. Do you have playbooks built for your admin, your estimator, your project manager, the different key roles in your business? Do you have work orders that you're utilizing, whether it generates it from Paint Scout and how you're implementing that into the production of your business? Are you utilizing something like Company Cam? Maybe it's Slack, right? Like, what are the things you've heard about? Like, oh, we should do that. Hey, we want to do that. Another common thing right now is employee performance bonuses, right? We talk a lot about that, and performance bonuses and, efficiency and paying out the full labor budget of the job, and like ways that you can do that. Now is a great time to get everything together for that, to communicate it with your team, to test it out and get ready to roll it out in January, right? So this is one of those times that I wanted to kind of try to spur some thoughts here. And I don't have a whole lot more. I got a couple points here. It's going to be a nice short episode for once. But I want to spur some thoughts, because what are all the things that you've heard about? Go back to your notes from PCA Expo, from the Elite Business Retreat, from Women in Paint, or the residential conference, whatever you've gone to this year. Go back to your notes from those things. What are the things you still haven't implemented? What are the conversations you've had with people that like, yeah, man, that'd be a great idea, right? I'd love to integrate Slack into the production team in our business, right? Whatever it is, go back and revisit that. Make one master list, right? And then you probably already know what I'm going to tell you, but pick one or two at a time and just chip away at it, right? What are the 1 to 2 most important things that's going to move our needle the furthest in our business, or is kind of time sensitive that, man, it'd be really nice to have this done by January right now? What are like the 2 to 4 things I want to get done in December to have ready to go by January? And then once those are done, I'm going to attack the next ones. Don't forget to kind of take this time to kind of clean and organize and declutter as well. And I know it's crazy, but again, we typically as business owners are running like crazy during the busy parts of our years. And sometimes that means our email gets really stacked up. Maybe it's our Google Drive. Maybe it's the downloads folder on your computer or your documents, right? We just need to organize it a little bit. We need to declutter it. We need to make it easier to find things. Maybe it's your shop. Maybe your shop's just gotten out of control. We just need to clean it up and organize it and take a week to build some shelves and to do some stuff and make this a little more systematic and be at peace, right? Maybe it's your office space. I joked we had some of our clients came in the other day for an annual planning meeting they come in for each year. And I was like, man, I love when you guys come in, because my office has not been this clean in a while. I actually found a piece of paper buried underneath a notebook that was from May. And I was like, oh, it wasn't bothering me. It was all isolated in one little area, but it just forced me to clean it out real quick. What are the things personally too? Like, I know, again, with our house, there's things that I'm like, I just put it in the back of my mind is like, this is a wintertime thing. It's a wintertime thing, right? I'll always take a little bit off right between like Christmas and New Year's and like knock out some house projects. I got a list of like 5 things to do that's just kind of been bothering me, but I've been able to just kind of put it away, right? And I think a big thing why I wanted to bring this up, because we're going to, business things need done. We need to work on systems and processes and everything else. But for me, the mental clutter is, I think, like a silent killer that we just don't recognize. We don't realize the effect that the cluttered desk is having, that the cluttered office, the cluttered shop, the not being able to find things in Google Drive or on our computer. Like, that takes a toll on you, whether you consciously realize it or not. So use this time for your business. Use this time to declutter and clear your mind and have a really good fresh reset heading into next year. Because I think the goal of this time of year is to get just enough rest that you're recharged to prep yourself for 2026, but also to use this time wisely to work on all the things you haven't had time to do the last 7 months, and hope that you find a good enough balance between these two things that you can run into the year recharged, but with a lot of stuff accomplished to better your business in 2026. Thanks for plugging into this week's episode. I hope you're able to take a few nuggets away from it to implement into your business. Remember, knowledge without implementation is useless. If you're curious about what we do and how we help painting contractors all over North America, schedule a free business analysis meeting with us at www.elitebusinessadvisors.com. Our entire team of advisors have ran and managed painting companies just like myself and are here to help support you on your journey. We have packages available for contractors at every stage of business, from flying solo and just starting out, all the way to multi-million-dollar businesses. And lastly, if you love this episode, please leave us a rating and a review. It helps others on the platform find our podcast, and it could be the best blessing that's ever happened to them thanks to you. Thanks for plugging in, and we'll see you back for next week's episode.